Hello YouTube, this is GMod Biker. This video is just going to show my progress on my new main battle tank 10. I said that I was making it in the main battle tank 9 video, and I think I finally have a working concept for it. And this isn't it. This is the prototype that I initially made that gave me the ideas for the finished products over there. But first let's just go over this really quick. This is a very small tank. That's probably its main issue overall. It's insanely small for what it is. It's a 40-ton tank, and it has probably some of the strongest armor I've ever put on a tank. 599 effective on the glacis, and we've got 309 on the lower plate, which isn't too much, but this does use the gigantic triangular prism block that you saw in the A2 version of my main battle tank 9. This huge block has an insane amount of health. You can up it to 500 health. I use 400 on these tanks though, so this can take an insane number of hits. Like, I've shot this with 140mm shells at 300 pen, multiple hits, no problem. Side armor is formulated to be as strong as possible by using multiple layers, and then the inside is also compartmentalized. And the turret is made out of 3 of these PHX triangle props. This was a big part of this tank because originally this entire top section of the tank was actually in line with these side skirts. So this was actually like a semi-oscillating turret. So there was a shot trap here that was blocked off by the front armor here. I know it would be easier to show you, but fuck it. But I decided that wasn't feasible, and I redesigned the entire turret to look like this. Very small turret, but these props are actually angled back farther than they would be otherwise, giving them like ridiculous armor values. 421 effective on 121mm. Tank has a internal gun mantlet like most of my new designs do. The main problem is this tank is horrendously underpowered. Like, it just can't drive fast. I don't know if it's an issue with my chip or what. I don't really care because the design's too small. It can't hold enough ammo. It's just not good enough. So we don't even need to show this one anymore. Let's move on to my redesign of the tank, which takes those concepts and puts it into a more usable fashion. Okay, so there's actually 2 versions of this tank, one of which I accidentally spawned incorrectly, so let me find the correct one really quick. It is called the M12A2 and the M12A1. Yeah, that's it. M12A1 uses the same armament as that other tank, which I called the M11, even though my MBT8 was called the M11, so it's completely fucked. But it uses a very similar frontal armor profile to that other one. It has 5 more millimeters of armor, giving you 618 effective on the glacis, and 320 whereabouts on the lower plate, 400 health on this prop. Everything was compartmentalized in a very specific way to be so that I can take hits. Like, it can lose ammo in the turret, not necessarily lose the tank. The turret isn't angled as hardcore as the previous one, but it still is 335mm effective across 3 big PHX triangular prism blocks. Big one in the middle on this, which is kind of strange, but due to the size limitations I wasn't able to do it in the traditional way, so it has an internal gun mantlet that's larger, the outside. These things all pivot via precision alignment around this point on top of the gun. The side armor on this is pretty impressive because it's got 10mm spaced side skirt armor, then it's got 100mm of applique armor added on over a 40mm plate down in the bottom here, and then an additional 50mm plate added around the ammunition, which is all stored at the front of the hull, since it's a rear turret design. Problem with the rear turret is this tank only has 4 degrees of gun depression, which isn't very good, but it's the best I could do with this specific design. And then it's actually got a centralized engine, so everything's shoved all the way up into the front of the tank. And like, if someone was to try to shoot the ammo, they would hit this 160 millimeter side of the glacis, or they would hit this 100 millimeter plate backed by a 50 millimeter plate. Theoretically, you could shoot over this, but that's not going to happen. Seat is in the back. There's a lot of empty space in the back, so for upgrades or whatever, but right now I'm just going to leave it empty because it doesn't really matter. I'd rather have shells go through and not hit anything. And then we've got turret ring. I forgot to color this prop, but whatever. And 6 rounds of ammunition in the turret, and it's not underpowered. Let me just show you a quick interior view really quick. Let's go ahead and remove these props. Oops, that's not the correct prop to remove. This one is. Haha. This is the interior of this tank, if you want to see what I was talking about. A little bit better organization in this tank. See, the seat was back here, and then the engine and the vulnerable ammunition is shoved way up in the front of the tank with heavy armor all around it, so you're going to have difficulty just disabling this tank right away. The thing weighs about 44 tons, 43 tons. I deleted half of it too fast. Okay, and from there I made this, which is the M12A2. This is a this tank uses an oscillating turret, which is new for me. You saw it in that one video where I demonstrated advantages of this design. So it's able to mount a 100 millimeter auto-loading cannon. It has the identical hull, but it's got a 100 millimeter auto-loading cannon, which sacrifices 1 round of ammunition for far better armor protection on the glacis profile of the turret. And it does have this kind of neck here, but if someone was to shoot through this, it wouldn't hit anything. Like, it would hit the turret base or something, which isn't really a problem. So, yeah. So this isn't actually that much of a weak spot. Let's unfreeze this thing really quick. It's basically got 200 mils on the front, and then it's got 40 on the sides, like most of my turrets. And it does not have a shot trap here that would deflect rounds into the hull. It's just flat, which is nice. So if we go ahead and unfreeze this, like so, get in the seat. See, it's an oscillating turret. It has 5 degrees of gun depression, so even though it's an oscillating turret, it actually has better gun depression than the previous tank. But it only has 9 degrees of gun elevation, which is always kind of a bane of oscillating turrets. But it's not as big of an issue in Gary's mod as it could be. But yeah, the turret basically, it actually has a turret ring, even though it's an oscillating turret. It's basically a round prop with another round prop inside it, and one of these is parented to the gun, and one of them is parented to the base, so it's able to just pivot independently. See, you can see the 2 props here if you look at it. And that's basically how that works. So all this shit is parented to this parent gate on the gun itself. And then just like this prop is actually parented to the turret base where it would usually be parented to. And that's how you get everything to move around where the gun is. Anyway, this tank, I think I like this better than the previous tank. The oscillating turret does introduce some strange challenges, but it's not that huge of a deal. I make some kind of an issue with my wheels right now, but whatever, that'll be fixed in later versions. But this armor is just, like, this armor can be shot so many times that it's just insane. Like, the front of this turret is 1 prop because it's an oscillating turret. I don't like moving guns through props, but if the whole prop is moving, maybe it just looks like that, you know. So this is 200 millimeters and 200 health. So this 400 millimeters effective? No, you're not gonna. You'd have to shoot that quite a few times. Then we've got this glorious frontal hull, 400 health, insane effective armor protection, along with the really high side armor protection. If you angle this thing is going to be very difficult to penetrate. This one weighs slightly less than that other one. It weighs 45 tons on the dot. I believe the other tank weighed 46 tons. I think I said something around there before. It's not the mobilest tank, but it's significantly more mobile than the prototype, which was it could like barely drive, basically. It uses a huge V8 diesel engine, and you saw that in there, centrally mounted. It doesn't use two. A lot of my tanks are designed to go really fast. This one, not really. This one's designed primarily for armor protection. So anyway, I think that's all that we need to see here. I like this tank.